Alrighty, I think we're going to get started. So thank you for joining us today for our webinar on the New York Great Lakes Small Grants Program. My name is Heather Weitzner, and I am the Great Lakes Coastal Properties and Hazards Specialist with New York Sea Grant. I'm being joined by Kathy Bunting-Howarth and Jean-Ann Johnston from Sea Grant, as well as Shannon Doherty from DEC. At this time, we would like to ask you to mute your phones or headset, just so there's no background noise while we're presenting. And if you have any questions, please feel free to either chime in or use the chat box. And if you're going to use the chat box, please send to everyone so everyone can read the question. Alrighty. So we're moving on. Our goal today is just to ensure that you understand the request for proposals, as well as the goals of the program, the application process, and we'd like to answer any of the questions that you might have. If we can't answer your questions here, then we'll post the answers on our website, or if you contact me afterwards, we can talk about any questions you have. The webinar is being recorded, and we will attempt to post it on our website afterwards. First, I'd like to review the timeline. Please note that the applications must be submitted through the New York Sea Grant website, which I'll go through later, by 4:30 on September 30th. The time is important as the website will not allow submissions after this time, and we anticipate notifying successful applicants the week of November 1st and anticipate the contracting to be complete by early January 2016, and projects must be completed by June 30th, 2017. And just a quick introduction to our program. The Small Grants Program is made possible by the New York State Environmental Protection Fund and Article 14 of the Environmental Conservation Law. With guidance from planning initiatives from New York State agencies and New York Sea Grant, the Small Grants Program is intended to support stakeholder-driven efforts to restore and revitalize the state's Great Lakes region, as well as demonstrate successful application of the ecosystem-based management, or EBM as we'll usually refer to it, which is an integrated approach to resource management that considers the whole ecosystem, including humans, the elements that are integral to ecosystem functions. And during the application process, we ask that you kind of link these EBM principles to your project. So to kind of help you with that, if you were to click on this link, it'll bring you to the DEC website. Can everybody, I'm assuming everyone can see this. It'll bring you to this website, and you can click on here to see the action agenda. And I just want to show you this. We're going to go to pages 7 through 9. Let me get there. These pages just kind of summarize the EBM principles. This might be a good place to just come and review the principles. Here they are on page 8, just so you're sure to connect with these and you can explain how your project addresses them. Okay, so let me go back. We are heading back. So this call for proposals is designed to promote local projects that lead to larger activities described in the action agenda. The grants program is anticipated to be available on an annual basis depending on funding, and this is our second year doing it. So each year, new priorities are identified. We have a couple priorities this year, and we are hoping to implement Goal 2 of the action agenda, which is to control sediment, nutrient, and pathogen loading so that drinking water is protected, desired aquatic biotic communities flourish, humans and wildlife are protected from coastline health hazards, and natural processes are sustained. We're also looking for projects that may address Goal 7 of the action agenda, which is to enhance community resiliency and ecosystem integrity through restoration, protection, and improved resource management. And again, I just want to hop to the action agenda really quick, just so you know exactly where to go. Goal 2 is on pages 19 through 22. So page 19, it starts Goal 2. It does the summary, some background information, and then it walks through each of the goal numbers as well as some action points that you might be able to hit, some desired outcomes, and on the right it shows also which goals or actions these specific strategies support, so you can kind of tie in other places. And then goal 7 is on page 33 through 36. Let me zoom over there. So again, it gives the overall goal, some background, and then the priority actions and how you can also tie it into other goals and milestones and these types of things. So the action agenda is a great document to refer back to just to make sure you're hitting these goals. Okay, so proposals may not exceed $25,000, and we intend to fund 8 proposals at a total of $200,000. Match is not required, but it is preferred, and eligible projects may include project-based and/or project planning, project implementation, information management tool development, demonstration projects, and targeted outreach and education initiatives. And these are to support management actions and address the following areas as they relate to goals 2 and 7. So we're looking for stormwater management, septic system management excluding the removal and replacement, natural infrastructure / nature-based shoreline protection, riparian restoration, wetlands, and green infrastructure. Again, I just want to point out proposals must be submitted by 4:30 on September 30th. That's very important. And they must be submitted on the website, which if you come here, if you were to click on this link, it will bring you to this website, which kind of announces our different grant opportunities. And then if you click here, it'll bring you to this page, which is important because this link here will bring you to the RFP so you can download it. This link here, if you click on it, it'll bring you to this Excel spreadsheet, which is the budget form. Here you can insert your title, the project title, the lead team, all these different financial tasks. And the person to contact with any financial question is Jean Ann from our staff. So if you can't reach her, contact me and I'll connect you to. And then it goes from year 1, year 2, and then a summary of everything. So things are linked in here, there are equations to kind of walk you through there. And then if we go back, this is the title page that we require with the submission, and that looks like this guy. And this is just kind of a general summary of the project title, the project lead, the contact information for each person, the project duration, and the funds that you're requesting. So we request that you also submit that, as well as, finally, the checklist. So this checklist is just going to help us in our evaluation just to quickly see, and also to help you kind of narrow down which goal you're addressing, which area your project focuses on of those that we listed, and then the EVM principle that your project applies. And we would like to see how your proposal discusses how projects address EVM principles instead of just kind of checking the box and saying that it does. Please explain how it addresses the principle. So also on this page, if you were to click Apply Now, get out of here. Okay. It'll bring you to this page, which is your submission page. So you would fill out the first name, last name, project title, the information of it, and then here's where you would upload all your applicable files. And if you have any problems with this specific web page, the contact information is down here, or you can contact me again, and I'll try to help you out with that. So that is the website. If you have any questions, please email me about that. Okay, moving on. These are things that we require with the proposal. We want you to have the cover sheet and the budget form, which are all available online. And the cover sheet, again, includes the title, the project lead, the project team, all these different things, and a checklist. And now to get into the project description, we really want to see that you identify the action agenda goal and the specific actions that your project addresses. We want the project summary, the goals and the methods, how you're going to go about everything, the objectives, activities, again, how your project integrates the EVM principles, personnel, collaboration, and then where your project is located. And if you were to click this link, it'll bring you to, no, all right, I just X'd out. Let's try it again. This map, which will show you the whole basin, so which might end up seeming larger than you would anticipate, but it covers this whole area. So if your project must be within this area. So this might be a good map to check out just as a first glance to see if your project even is in this area. So when you're listing the key personnel involved, we'd like to see a brief biographical sketch, about 2-page maximum per person for the top 3 personnel. This would include the name, address, phone, fax, contact information. If you're working with other partner organizations, state the name of the organization and how the partnership will work. And these don't count towards your 5-page maximum for the overall project description. If you are conducting activities on public or private lands, we request that you submit letters of support from those governments or the private property owners where you'll be conducting that work. And these also don't count towards the 5-page project description. General letters of project support are not required, and we really won't be looking at them in the evaluation process. So if we move on to the timeline, again, projects must be completed by June 30th, 2017. And please limit the timelines to 1 page when you kind of detail when things will be happening and what will be happening. You also have to submit a budget justification, which will reflect key project milestones, deliverables, and schedules, along with the Excel document that I showed you that you can get online. The different things like labor costs, fringe benefits, permanent equipment, those all correspond to these different sections within the Excel spreadsheet. And again, if you have any questions about budget or anything, please contact Jean-Ann. So a few things that are going to be required if you are successful and we do choose your project. Insurance is going to be needed, liability insurance, audited statements, permits, documentation of ownership and public interest in property. You should be able to document adequate ownership rights in and to the subject property. And municipal endorsement we will require. And then I think this section's pretty useful so you can see how we'll be evaluating the proposals. First and foremost, you have to link to 1 or more of the actions associated with goal 2 or 7 and or 7. How does your project integrate the principles of EBM management, EBM? So again, please don't just tell us that it does, but tell us how it does. And we have the ecosystem-based management principles here. So you can go to the action agenda, or you can just check through the RFP and hit a few of these. We also want to see that your outcomes and deliverables are appropriate for your goals, if you're kind of meeting your goals, and whether these can be completed within the 18 months that the project will span. And we're looking at prior experience of the project team, appropriateness of budget. Are you doing things that we feel or seem may exceed the budget that you're given? Again, is your project located within the Great Lakes Basin? And we're also looking for an outreach component which can support broad-scale communication and application of project results. Can we further your project results and kind of have an outreach component of it? And we're looking to see if your project will leverage other sources of funding, present opportunities that can maximize the use of the action agenda. And we're finally looking at whether or not your project builds local and or organizational capacity for future related projects. So if we go through the funding guidelines, if you're chosen, you will have to submit brief status reports and invoicing at the end of each calendar quarter, and a mid-project and final report along with an evaluation. And you would submit that to our office. And here we are at the webinars. We are at the final webinar, which we are recording, and hopefully we'll be able to post online. And again, if you have any questions, I'll either be able to answer it or I'll get you to the person who can answer it. And at this point, we would like to open it up for any questions that anyone might have. And please also, again, just send to everyone so that everyone can read the question. And don't forget you're muted.
Hi, this is Jay Jean from the Western New York Land Conservancy.
Hello.
I do have a couple questions. I also have some very specific questions, and I thought maybe I could email you those later, but I have some general questions now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can definitely email me later.
Okay. So I was just wondering, so in thinking about the project personnel and partners of a project, does that assume that if we are doing habitat restoration that we have the contractors all lined up and that we'll be providing bios of the contractors as well? You know, the project team, the planning team is, you know, internal land conservancy, but we'll probably hire out, well, we'd have to hire out the work. And so I was wondering if we have to be that far along in putting together the team. Is that what's expected for the application?
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I wouldn't think that it would include the contractors at this point. Does anyone else have any other opinions on that?
Yeah, I would just I would just be clear that if you're not going to identify them, then I would put in the timeline what your anticipated contracting time is going to be, and so that you're not, so that we can be confident that the work can be done within the 18-month period.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I guess I did have a question. So maybe this is specific to you know, the project we're thinking of. We just protected a property on the Niagara River, just north of Lewiston, called the Stella Niagara Preserve. It's 29 acres, a quarter mile of shoreline on the river. It's the largest undeveloped, privately owned property left on the river. And we want to do some habitat restoration there and enhancement. And the first thing we'd like to do is a large 18-acre meadow. We'd like to do oak savanna, prairie habitat work. So it's really upland work directly adjacent to the shoreline. But when I'm looking at the list of eligible projects, I wonder if in your mind that would count towards natural infrastructure or nature-based shoreline protection, even if it's not the shoreline itself, it's the upland adjacent to the shoreline.
For addressing Goal 7, I would assume that it has to be on the shoreline or within a wetland that's maybe not on the shoreline, but in the basin. I would say if, no.
So yeah, I mean, that's very specific. And I can follow up with an email, and I can show you a map, and maybe we can do it that way. Okay.
A map would be good, so I can kind of see where it is in proximity to the shoreline, if that would be okay.
Sure,
and just remember, there will be other reviewers, so you've got to somehow put that map and relate the project to the goal and the basin within your page limit as well.
Sure. Yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah. Okay. I'll follow up with an email with that one.
Yeah, and if you can provide the map, that'd be great.
Okay.
We have a question from Todd. I don't know if it was sent to the group or not. Let me see. Is there a way we can find out if a project is likely to be funded in a preliminary way? So if the project isn't likely to be funded, the effort to develop a full project proposal, which is a lot of work, to be for naught? You can email me. I wouldn't say, yes, we would fund this. I mean, if it addresses goal 2 or 7, then it definitely is eligible. And right now I'm working on putting summaries of past projects up online on our website so that, ooh, a video.
Sorry about that.
So that if you think that project, your project is similar to those projects, I think last year was only goal 7, but if it's similar to those or if it definitely addresses one of the projects, then it is eligible.
Okay. And the goal of our application process is to be as simple as possible. So, you know, you know, Heather can give you feedback, but you have to recognize that there's an entire group of reviewers, and so I can understand your desire not to put out a lot of effort for naught, but at this point, last year, we funded 4 out of 14 projects, and this year we'll have twice as much money, so hopefully we'll be able to fund 8 projects. But I still, you know, there's no way of us saying how many applications we're going to receive.
And Rachel, I see your question. We're in the process of putting summaries up on our website, so that should be available within the next few weeks, and we can have a notice sent out for people who've attended the webinars, because I have everyone's emails when those are posted, because that is a question that's come up a couple times. You're welcome. Any other questions? If you guys don't have questions now, or you have a question specific to your project, I've received a couple of emails afterwards, so feel free, let me pull up my email again, to email me any questions, and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Alrighty, I'm going to call it. I don't see anyone typing. Okay, well, if you do think of any questions, please email me. My contact information is here, and hopefully we can get this recording posted just in case you need something repeated, but also feel free to contact me. So thank you, everyone, for attending, and I hope to see your proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.